Hi guys, this is Tracy Newman from the Navigator's Tarot, here to do a masculine reading for you guys for this week, second last week in March, and yeah, so we'll see what the energies bring for the masculine energies at this point in time. It is nearly my birthday, woohoo! And yeah, so anyway, for those who don't know me, my name is Tracy Newman. I'm from the Navigator's Tarot, which you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram. And you can also find me on YouTube as Sleepy Wisdom. And if you would like a personal reading from me, you can find me at sleepywisdom.com. Okay, which is my website. Okay. Right, we'll see what's going on with the Divine Masculine energies at this point in time. There's some interesting observances that I've had with the Divine Masculine energies, and I've actually been talking to a couple of Divine Masculines. There are masculines who actually hold the greater amount of the masculine energy, and that are here on this earth at this time to transform their energies for the greater good of all humankind on the planet at this point in time, as they represent that the emerging Divine Masculine from the distortions of the masculine that has been on the earth for millennia under a completely different regime of control, which we are now moving away from into much calmer, more sublime, more high frequency energies. Okay, so wow, we have the star. So the masculine has been going through such a hard time over the last few years, but now moving into a greater sense of hope for the future of where he is going at this point in time on the earth plane and within himself as well. So we're really starting to see now this absolute transformation and a lessening of the egoic divine masculine, distorted masculine. So yeah, moving into the King of Swords energy. So he has the tools that he needs to move into these new world structures and to remove the old system that has been in place for millennia, and he's doing that by going within. He's finding through the King of Swords energies. The King of Swords is a very intelligent masculine energy that is pretty much able to go forward with fortitude, courage and bravery with his sword in hand, and will fight for the right to be heard, and also too will fight for justice and truth, because that is what the King of Swords represents as the king in the tarot. So they are actually starting to really move forward. The Divine Masculine is now claiming the reign, claiming that his right to rule himself. When I talk about rule, I'm talking about ruling himself and his own desires. He's now got the reins, and he knows exactly where he's going and how he needs to go about changing his whole entire life. And that is what is occurring with the Divine Masculine at this point in time, as they are beginning to understand that the only way forward is for them to reclaim the divinity within their own lives. And of course, that requires them to go within, to go into their heart centers, to connect to the divine source energy that is within, that solar plexus heart energy and heart chakra energy, and knows that he must move away from logic, reasoning, even though that is a very huge part of the divine essence. He knows that he must somehow move from there and connect that with his heart center, which has been closed off by design for quite some time. And now he's beginning to recognize that he must go within, and he must actually get in touch now with his physical body, and of course, with those feeling centers that have not been connected to that, that head, the head and heart have not actually been connected. They are beginning now to connect on a more spiritual level, so that he is able to understand the truth of who he really is, and that is by connecting the intellect with the emotional center. And he's now beginning to do that. For a long time there, the masculine was all about logic, reasoning, egoic forms of spirituality in the form of meditation, leaving his body, moving outward from the body, and not actually going within to connect to that emotional center. And his heart, of course, being very closed off. But now he's beginning to open. He's beginning to connect these, and then therefore open those centers that are now coming into being as the frequency actually shifts a lot of the old energies out and purging them out through his system. Because the masculine is going to go through a purge of the old static and stale energies. King of Wands taking action. Seven of Cups, he's getting very creative in how he's actually going into these new earth energies. And he's got a new sense of self-love that he's really beginning to find within himself. He knows that to be able to give properly to his divine feminine, he needs to be able to give to himself in such a way that is kind, loving and nurturing. And the only way he can do that is to remove any of the old structures and the old way of being in the head, in his intellect, and closed off to the heart. He now knows that he needs to marry those two and be able to sort of like to be able to work from the connection of that. He's now beginning to come into his body and connect with his physical being in a way that is not distorted or detrimental to himself, and therefore his feminine and all it is. The Ace of Swords. So he very much has now taken it upon himself. We've got the King of Swords and the Ace of Swords. This is about the beginning of truth as it begins to come within his own structure and into his own heart and mind. He's beginning to really start to see that that is what is occurring. With the Ace of Swords, he's able to take up that sword and slice through any untruth to find his essence and his divine essence, which lies within his heart center. We have the Two of Cups and we have the Six of Wands. So he recognizes that to give himself to another in the feminine form, to another, maybe projected feminine, he must get in touch with the divine essence within and to connect to his own divine feminine within. And so he can balance out those energies. The Six of Wands is about victory. He will have victory over this once he begins to connect with his heart center and find the truth of who he is. There are core wounds that must be released as well. That's part of the purging process, as I've said before. And the Chariot, once again, driving his own way. There is a dark night of the soul that the masculine must go through before he can connect with his own divine essence, which is his own divine feminine. And it is with that balance that he is striving for with his own divine feminine that the masculine will start to connect more with a projected divine feminine once he actually connects with his own divine feminine within. The way to the divine, of course, is through his own divine feminine. He must activate that feminine essence within. But look at this. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Ten of Cups, and so it's about communicating with himself and also to his own divine feminine, and recognizing that without her, he cannot get to his divine essence. the masculine is going through a lot of shame, guilt that is left over from knowing that on an archetypal level that the masculine has subjugated the feminine, not only in the form of Gaia, the earth, or his projected feminine in the form of woman, but also to his own divine feminine within. And the only way through to the divine is to connect with the divine feminine essence. She's the only way to his divine center, and he actually understands that he must go through the purging process and the dying of the ego to get to his divine essence, which of course must go through the divine feminine to get to that. But there's new love here. There's divine love, because that is basically the Ten of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and this beautiful communication. So he must communicate with his divine feminine in whatever shape or form she comes in. So whether it is a projected feminine or whether it is the feminine within, either or, that is his way to the divine. It is his only way to the divine and to his own divinity, is to connect through Source Prime Creator, that's the only way to connect to the Prime Source Creator, is through his divine feminine essence that lies within. He's also going through a tower moment, and that will be necessary to purge out these energies of distortion that have been in control for quite some time. So to get to the truth of who he is, he has to understand that connection with his divine feminine will lead him to truth and the promise of a new understanding of who he really is in relation to himself and the world around him. Wow, great energies this week. I spoke to a couple of divine masculines earlier in the week, and both of them were feeling a lot of anger, and that seems to be coming up for a lot of divine masculines at this point in time, as they actually begin to understand that the shame and guilt that they hold within their selves for a millennia, which has happened for a very, very long time. They hold that. They have hold the shame and guilt of the subjugation of the feminine, not realizing that it is that he is the only one that is able to actually go within to unlock all of that confusion that he feels, to understand just why he's feeling so angry and projecting it outwards. It's because he has subjugated his own divine feminine. And subjugating the earth and subjugating the feminine, projected feminine, he's subjugated his own feminine. And he must also understand that it is he holds the key to the locked heart center. But of course, the only way, he holds the key, but the key is that connection he has with his divine feminine. But he is moving into these Emperor energies. The Emperor, it represents all four kings of the tarot, and that's where he's moving into, and he knows that. But first he must purge out these old distortions and energies, the devil energies that are constantly tempting him and leading him astray. So yeah, the divine masculine is really beginning to move ahead, which is an amazing thing. And it's a great thing to see as we move out of these old world distortions into a clearer, more beautiful new world. Of course, it starts from within, because everything that we see on an outer level is just a projection of what lies within each and every single one of us. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Kind of went roundabout. I hope that all makes sense, and I'll see you next week. And if you haven't already, just hit like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and I shall see you next week. Okay, bye for now. Have a great week, everyone.